Hello, this is Aaron with Marcelo Sandrin Network. I was feeling a little sick this weekend, but we're back. Feeling good today. We're back. So, I'm going to talk about a little Week 14 in the NFL action. So, it was actually a crazy day yesterday. Lots of good games going on. Starting off with the Jets and the Dolphins. This was a very close game as we saw the Dolphins edge out the Jets in overtime, 32-26. And unfortunately for the Jets, their season has gone just about as bad as they could have imagined, but it seems to be getting worse as they just keep losing these close games. And for the Dolphins, it's a big win for them because it gets them, I believe they're now 6-7, one game below 500, and they're still fighting for their shot in the wild card spot in the AFC, and I think they got a real chance to. The Dolphins are a very talented team, and I think they could possibly make the wild card. So, big win for the Dolphins. Next up, we got the Vikings and the Falcons, and this game, Sam Darnold really showed why he could potentially be in the MVP race, but most likely not. But he did have a huge game. He had 5 touchdown passes, and the Vikings beat the Falcons 42-21. As once again we saw Kirk Cousins for the Falcons playing his old team, but he struggled with 2 interceptions. Again, making the Falcons wonder if maybe it's time to see Michael Penix. Not sure when, but maybe definitely getting bring up some questions about that moving forward or the rest of the season for the Falcons. Next up, we had the Saints beat the Giants 14-11, and unfortunately for the Giants, they had a shot to tie this game. We saw Drew Lock lead the boys down there and have a chance to tie this game up at 14, but unfortunately, the Saints blocked the Giants' field goal attempt, and they ended up, losing, and they were probably going to head the game. The game was going to head to overtime, but instead we saw the Saints win 14-11, and again for the Giants, their season continues to go the wrong way for them, so another tough loss for the Giants. Next up, we had the Panthers and the Eagles, and this game was actually a lot closer than people thought, as we saw the Panthers. We saw Bryce Young lead his team down the field for a chance to have a game-winning drive, which was very close. We saw he came a few plays away from actually taking the lead against the Eagles. And for the Eagles, it was, Panthers played them very close, but again, they still kind of showed why they're the best team, one of the best teams in the NFC. But again, still, the Panthers are playing a lot better, especially Bryce Young, and I think they're a team to watch out for going forward the rest of the season. We had another AFC North battle between the Steelers and the Browns. And like I said in the last video, I said I don't think the Steelers will get swept by the Browns. So I was right. We saw the Steelers win 27-14, and again, Russell Wilson had a huge game. I believe he had 3 passing touchdowns, and he's just kind of, ever since he took over as a Steelers starter for Justin Fields, he's kind of proven that he looks more like the Russ in Seattle we saw 3 years ago and compared to Russ in Denver, which is a huge difference. Over the Steelers, seems like they got their guy, at least for this year. He's playing very well. So for them, they're sitting well at 10-3 atop the AFC North. So we'll see if anyone's going to have anything to do with that. He can change with that, but we'll see for now. So next up, we had the Buccaneers and the Raiders. And we saw the Buccaneers win 28-13 as the Raiders lost their quarterback again. So they're down to their third-string Desmond Ridder as their third-string quarterback. And the Buccaneers are now in first place in the NFC South. As earlier I mentioned, the Falcons lost to the Vikings. So now the Buccaneers are up in their division in first place, which is a pretty big deal for them because they've missed most of their 2 best receivers most of the season. So for them to kind of keep it together and keep winning these games, it pays off as they're currently in first place in the NFC South. So the Buccaneers are in a good spot. Next up in the NFC West, we had the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 30-18, and for me, I thought the Cardinals would show up more in this game. They didn't really. I thought it was a chance for them to take first place in their division, and kind of make a statement. But for the Cardinals, could not get the job done. Kyler Murray threw 2 interceptions, a couple bad ones, and unfortunately for the Cardinals, we saw them lose 30-18 their division rival Seahawks. So that's a tough loss for them. But now the Seahawks are in first place in the NFC West, so good for them. That division is very tight. I still think the Rams and 49ers could make a late push for that division, but again, as of now, the Seahawks are in first place, so Seattle fans are very happy. We also had, in my opinion, the game of the day, the Rams against the Bills. We saw the Rams win 44-42, and I think for the Rams, this was a huge statement game, kind of proving the rest of the NFL that they can compete with and beat the best teams in the NFL, including the Buffalo Bills, who were one of the best teams in the AFC, still are. Again, Josh Allen had a great game. He had 5 touchdowns. Again, the guy's doing everything he can. But, for the Rams, they still have that fight in them. You got Cooper Kupp, Nakua, and Stafford. These guys and their defense play very well, too. It's just the Rams are a tough team, and I think just similar to last year, I think they're going to make it into the playoffs and the wild card and be a tough out. So for the Rams, they're in a good spot. I think they still have a chance to obviously win their division as well. So good for the Rams. Next up, we had the 49ers and the Bears, and I thought this game would be a little bit closer. I thought the Bears would kind of play a little more, have a little more fight to them since they fired their coach Matt Eberflus after last week. But no, they still kind of started off slow, and we saw them, kind of struggle on offense again, which has been the story of this entire season for the Bears and for Caleb Williams. So for the Niners, it was also a big win for the Niners as they look to get back on track. Which I mentioned before, their division is kind of wide open at this point. So, and last up, we had the Chiefs and the Chargers. Again, we saw the Chiefs win a very close game, including they needed a 31-yard game-winning field goal, which doinked in for the win against the Chargers. Again, the Chargers are a very good team. I think they're kind of a lock to be in the AFC wildcard. But again, the Chiefs win a very close game. It shows that they're able to win these games when it matters most in the last couple of minutes of these games. But I think it shows that they're a very beatable team. And for my Ravens, hopefully they'll get a shot to play them again this year. But, the Chiefs are still the very best, and you got to beat the best to be the best. So until a team can kind of beat them, the Chiefs are still the team to beat. So, and tonight we got the Cowboys taking on the Bengals. And I know last week I did pick the Cowboys in this game, but I'm not going to switch up. I'm not going to change my mind. But I think the Bengals are going to be angry. They've lost they've lost a lot of close games. I think the Bengals are going to maybe possibly take it out on Dallas tonight, but I think it'll be a close game. So still taking Dallas tonight, but we'll see. But until then, I'm Aaron, and thanks for watching, and go Ravens. Have a good one.